Hello everyone, I'm bPreemptivelyUnloadCells and welcome to another modding tutorial. This particular tutorial is going to cover modding Fallout New Vegas. Now, I'm going to preface this tutorial by saying this is going to be an easy mode tutorial. Now, the easy mode tutorials, like my last one, are going to be as simple as possible and should be considered jumping points for people that are new to modding and just want to figure out how to do it. Like, yes, I know with modding Bethesda games, there are certain practices some people like, some people dislike. There's a lot of things people disagree with. This video is not that. This video is not about any of that. This video is a starting point and a jumping off guide for people who don't know what they're doing and want the simplest way possible to actually mod the game. So please do not start wars in the comments. Please don't say you should use this mod manager, you should do this or that. This is not the place. This is meant to make it as simple and easy as possible. And if people want to jump from here and do more complex modding, they can. That being said, I'm going to divide this into different sections and I'm going to try and put time codes in the YouTube video. I apologize if that takes a while. This would be my first time actually doing that. So I'm going to divide it into chapters, such as which mod manager to use, how to set up that mod manager, and what I'm going to call required mods to mod the game in the first place, for a stable experience that runs on modern hardware. So, with all of that out of the way, let's jump to the first step. Alright, so for the first step, we're going to get your mod manager, install it, and then the next step will be the little setup bits in between that are necessary. Note we will be using the Vortex mod manager because, in my opinion, it is the easiest to use and the most straightforward mod manager currently available. It automates a lot of processes, which for new modders is all you will realistically need. Now, you're going to go to nexusmods.com and you need to create an account. Yeah, I know. Some people don't want to make accounts, this and that, but it's going to link to your mod manager so you can download your mods through that mod manager. So make your account, get it out of the way. Whatever. So on the landing page here, you're going to go to Mods and Get Vortex. Then from here, you're just going to download the latest version now. Scroll down, you will see main files, and you'll see these sections here. You want to use the first file, Vortex, the one-click installer. You can use the custom installer if you want, though that's more of an advanced thing and beyond the scope of this actual specific tutorial. So just download the manual one by clicking manual download. You'll have this section here, slow download. Then you'll get it here and hit save. And that's it. Alright, now that we have Vortex downloaded, you'll pull it up like any other installer. It's nothing complicated, it's just a typical install wizard. Vortex is running. Click OK to close. Since I already have Vortex and I already have it, right here, I'm going to close it. Hit OK. Okay, now I want to note that since I installed it, it's not a problem. You can update it through the exe. You don't actually have to update through the application itself. Nothing will be removed or destroyed in this process. See, Vortex is up and running. So with that, let's move on to the next step. Alright, so for the next step, what you're going to do first and foremost is you are going to log in to your Nexus Mods account inside of the mod manager. Because once again, you want it linked to your Nexus profile so you can download through the manager. So, upon first installation, it might take you straight to games or have a prompt similar, but this page in particular, it will scan automatically for the games. It'll scan your Steam directory. If you have a good old games directory, it'll do that too, or whatever. In the event that it can't automatically find it, you could do a full scan, or you can go to the unmanaged section here, find the game, and click manage. Then from there you will find the directory of the game, and it will be added up here to the manage section. Now, of course, we're managing in particular modding Fallout New Vegas. So once you're here, you'll click activate on whatever you're modding, New Vegas, so you'll click activate. Then from here, there are some settings you want to make sure are on. They should be, but just to be sure, you will go to the Settings tab. Interface is, you can customize this how you like. This is all preference. You will go to Workarounds, Archive Invalidation, and you want to be sure that BSA redirection is checked. The reason it is important to have BSA redirection checked is most texture mods will not work without it because of how Bethesda packages all of their textures and such. So if that's checked, enabled, that's all you have to do here in the settings section. You can also go to Download and choose your locations for everything if you want. Choose your theme, whatever. Again, this is all your preference. Now, from here, we're going to go to Profiles. And this is where you will set up whatever profiles you want. So basically what profiles are is they're different mod setups for what you might want. Like let's say you have a serious playthrough and you have a meme playthrough, like MLG sound effects, stuff like that. You know, a completely immersion-breaking experience. Let's say you want to differentiate the two, you can do that. And removing them is as simple as clicking and going to Remove. To add them, add Fallout New Vegas profile and type whatever, like Tutorial 2, add whatever description you want, memes, save, and it automatically adds it here. Now to switch between them, you will go to Enable. I've already have the dummy one that I'm using for the tutorial and another dummy one because switching to my already modded profile would take forever. So again, just click Enable, swaps back and forth, and it's as easy as can be. Now, pretty much when you swap back and forth, what it will do is it will change your mods page and your plugins page to update to reflect whatever mods you have installed for each profile. Now, my setup is a little unique because I use Tale of Two Wastelands. Yours will probably not look like this. So, that's profiles, that's settings, that's really all you need for setup of Vortex. There's some other things, but if they pop up, you will know it, because they'll probably be mod specific. So, with that out of the way, let's go on to the next step. Alright, so now that you've got your mod manager installed and your mod manager set up, I'm going to walk you through installing mods. We're going to start with the mods that require more assembly than the others first, however. So, the first mod that you are going to install is the Fallout New Vegas 4GB Patcher. Now, the Fallout New Vegas 4GB Patcher just makes your Fallout New Vegas large address aware, which means it can use more than 2GB of RAM. Since you're modding New Vegas, you need more than 2GB of RAM. Now, it's 4GB patcher because I believe up until a recent patch, Windows, newer versions at least, would only allow up to 4GB of RAM for 32GB processes. That may not have changed, but I'm pretty sure it has. But anyway, once you have it, you will open up the file with whatever your archive manager is of choice. 7-zip is what I have. I recommend everyone use 7-zip, as I said in the prior video. But that aside, you'll have Fallout New Vegas patch.exe. What you need to do is you need to go to your Fallout New Vegas installation directory, where your Fallout New Vegas.exe file is. Now, you'll go back to your archive. You will drag it and drop it into the same, again, the installation directory where the Fallout New Vegas exe is. So, you will open it up and you will get this command prompt. Since mine is already patched, it tells me it's already patched, which that's fine. The Good Old Games version will automatically have this patch applied. So you don't have to worry about it if you have that, but every other version of the game will. Except for the Bethesda launcher and the Game Pass version. Those versions really aren't moddable, so if you have those versions, this tutorial most likely will not work for them. But any other installation should be fine. But with this command prompt, if yours is not patched, it will give you, if it does not automatically do it, it will give you a prompt of yes or no. Just follow the instructions in the command prompt, which I believe is just hitting Y and hitting enter, and your Fallout New Vegas will be patched. Which you can do this manually with something like CFF Explorer if you know what you're doing, but this is easier and I recommend doing it this way. So once you have your game patched, you will go back to your browser. And next mod we're going to install is the New Vegas script extender. Now, I will have links to these mods in the description, so you can just click them and go. You don't have to search for them. My goal is to make it easy. So once you get to the page here, which this will be where I link you to, you will go to NVSC here. Scroll down to Download. Download the latest NVSC. You will go to Assets, and then you will click the 7-zip file here. Save, and done. Once again, you will open up the archive, go back to our New Vegas root directory where the exes are. You will grab all of this, and you will drag and drop it. I am not going to replace the files, because I already have it installed, and I have a unique installation set up, so I'm going to skip it, but just drag and drop, and you're good to go. Now, after you have the script extender installed, once again, go back to your browser, and we'll be installing Johnny Guitar, which what Johnny Guitar does is applies some engine fixes while also adding new functions to the script extender as is. So again, go to Assets, download the 7-zip. Now this one is a little different, so I'm going to show you how to do that. You will pull it up, and NVSE, you'll have a folder named that. You will go back to your New Vegas directory, and in your New Vegas directory, you will click on the data folder. You will go in, pull back up the archive, and drag this in. If you've installed the script extender like you should, this folder should exist. If it doesn't, well, this is creating it and it won't hurt anything. So drag it, replace the files in destination, which again, you should not have this if you were just modding the game, so I'm going to skip this. And there you go, you have Johnny Guitar. And again, I know this is probably getting repetitive, go back to your browser. And the odd one is OneTweak. Because OneTweak is not on the New Vegas Nexus, it's on the Skyrim Nexus. But it should work with pretty much every single Bethesda RPG, at least through Skyrim. I don't know if it works on the newer ones like Fallout 4 and Special Edition, which I don't think it does, but either way, you will want to download this one through the Mod Manager. So, Mod Manager download. And again, it will say additional files required, which since we have the Fallout New Vegas script extender, that is pretty much the same thing as this, just for New Vegas. But the Nexus, if you require a file to run a mod, it will alert you, and generally, if the mod author knew what they're doing when they uploaded it, they will link it here in this section. So just download. Slow download, or fast if you have premium. You will go to your download section here. Inside of Vortex, ignore all that. That's from past takes of this particular guide. So you will find your Skyrim section here in downloads. You will find OneTweak, which should be at the bottom or wherever. Like I said, I'm mod Skyrim too, so install. The games associated with this download are not managed. Install for the currently managed game. Yes, you will install to Fallout New Vegas. Then once installed, with any mod that you install, you will click Enable afterward. It should automatically deploy for you immediately, because I believe that's a default setting in Vortex, but I don't have it deploy automatically because I bulk install mods. So if deployment's required, just click Deploy, it does it, and you're done. And it should be in the mod section here. Sort by enable. And there you go, like OneTweak. I already have it installed because of a prior, attempt at this, so anyway, ignore that. But yeah, it should be here. If it is not enabled, find it and enable it in the section here. And that's OneTweak. You shouldn't... I will walk you through what to do with that later in a different step later on. But anyway, that aside, the next one will be the Fallout New Vegas edit. Which again, I will try to link all of these mods in the description. You'll manually download it, just like the other stuff from before. Slow download, fast download, whichever. Save. And then it'll download. And I apologize if I seem kind of meandering here. I didn't script this because I typically do Let's Play videos, and I don't really script. Everything I do is flying by the seat of my pants. Apologize for that. Maybe it adds to the charm, maybe it doesn't. Either way, I hope I'm still clear and concise enough to follow. Once you have Fallout New Vegas script extender downloaded, you will open up that archive. You will go back to your Fallout New Vegas root directory. You will highlight everything here, and you will just drag and drop. And it will copy over. Me, since I am using Tale of Two Wastelands and some unique file setups, I'm going to skip, but you should not have to replace anything if you have not done this before. And there you go. Now, this is what you will be launching your Fallout New Vegas from this point onward if you want to play modded Fallout New Vegas. You will not launch it through Steam. You will not launch it through GOG Galaxy. You will not launch it through any launcher at all. You will launch it from the nvscloader.exe. So right-click it, at least if you want it on your desktop, and I would suggest sending it to your desktop as a shortcut. And here you go. That is the default icon. I already have this on my desktop because I use a custom icon. But yeah, that is what you will launch your Fallout New Vegas from this point onward. I don't need it, so I'm going to delete it. So the next complicated mod, as I say complicated in parentheses, will be the New Vegas Heap Replacer. You will manually download this. You do not mod manager download this one. I don't know why they even have the option enabled, because I believe you can toggle that on or off. But anyway, slow download, fast download, whichever. Download it, pull it up, and once again, open the archive. Now, what you want to do here is you want to go to your desktop, create a new folder. I already have a folder created right here. You will grab everything here. You will drag it into that folder. You will open that folder up, and you will click cpu_info.exe. Everyone should do this because your processor's instruction sets will be different depending on what processor you have. So, open it up, and it will tell you what instruction sets your processor can use. Me, I can use up to AVX2. So, press any key to continue. You will go into whatever folder it told you to go into. Mine is AVX2. And you will have a D3DX9_38DLL. You will go back to your Fallout New Vegas root directory. And what you will do is you will drag this in here along with the Fallout New Vegas exe. I already have it, so I don't have to do it. But again, that is what you will do. And that should be the end of the complicated ones. Everything else from this point onward, to my knowledge, can be installed through the modded manager, just like one tweak. So for the sake of showing you how to do it, we'll go on to the next one, which is New Vegas Anti-Crash. You will just do mod manager download, which the Vortex mod manager should be able to handle NVSC plugins as well, so it shouldn't be a problem. You'll download it. Since I have New Vegas active, it'll show up here. You will install, or you can install it from here. If you download a bunch of stuff at once, you can highlight it all and install it at once too. You will enable and deploy. Then from here, mods, once again, check for, enabled mods. And there you go. If you're not sure if it's enabled, just go here. Sometimes Vortex will not enable mods if you bulk install too many at once. So what I would do is I would go back in and I would double check this to be sure. Now the rest of the mods in this guide should be installed just like this. I'm not going to walk through all of them for the sake of time because that would take forever. So next we will move on to, I believe, the INI files. So let's move on to the next step. Alright, so the next step is, I have these linked in the description, so don't worry about it. These particular files are from the Viva New Vegas mod guide, which I would suggest looking at too, after this tutorial if you like. Though, I would not use it as a Bible, or the word of law on modding Fallout New Vegas. Too many people treat it like that. It is a good jumping point and a good overall idea of what to do when modding. So if you prefer written instructions, that is the one I would go to. I just do not agree with using Mod Organizer 2 over Vortex for most new modders. So, I know this is not an INI file, but you want this as well because of the Weapon Mesh Improvement mod. Its ESP file has some dirty edits and other things. So, you will go to Download. Notice the trend? You'll open up the archive. And what you will do now is you will go to your Fallout New Vegas root directory, go go to Data, and then you will drag these into Data. Again, I have them there, so it's off to me to replace. You shouldn't, but if it does, go ahead and replace them. And that should be all you need to do for that particular mod. Now from there, we will go to the FalloutCustom.ini. Now, why the FalloutCustom.ini is important is New Vegas tick fix requires some assembly. But since this is from Viva New Vegas, I do trust it, and it does do all of that legwork for you. So once again, you'll download it. You will go back to your root directory where the data folder is, once again. And you will drag the NVSC folder into data and replace the file and destination. For me, like, it doesn't matter, I use this particular file myself. You will not be prompted that, but still. And there you go. That problem is solved. And those are the complicated INIs, at least for within the data folder and so on. So from here, what we will do is you need to go to your Fallout New Vegas directory in your documents. So you'll go to whatever your, my computer, whatever, documents, my games, Fallout New Vegas. And this, if this was not created when you installed JIP, you will right click, new, text document. Then you will create a FalloutCustom.ini file like this. Now me, I already have it, so I don't need to. And here's the version that I made for the tutorial, because again, I have custom edits that are not relevant to this. So, tutorial version. Now, I am going to leave all of this in the description for you. You will copy and paste the text that I have in the description, or if you want to try and type all of it out, I guess you could pause the video and do that. And you will get all of this, copy it, and then just, again, paste it into the custom.ini. That's all you gotta do. Save it. And I do highly recommend, if you are modding games or in general, get Notepad++ instead of Notepad. It is genuinely a better word processor, and it keeps things nice and organized. I cannot recommend it enough, especially for modding games and editing INI files and so on. But this should be really all you need. The only thing here that you would change is full screen. So you need one tweak for the reason of, with Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, Skyrim, you need to be able to use borderless window. I believe I said this in the earlier step, but I'm going to repeat it for the sake of repeating it. Now, you want to play in borderless window, because if you Alt-Tab out of the games during full screen mode, it will crash the games typically, due to the old engine, so on and so forth. And the games are old enough that the performance impact of playing in borderless window, which if you did not know, borderless full screen, does in fact use more resources than full screen, because your desktop is also being rendered in the background. But you would turn this to 1 if you want exclusive full screen, or 0 like this if you want to keep it at borderless full screen, borderless windowed, whatever you want to call it. And that should be it for INI edits, at least that I am aware of. So, I guess we can move on to a wrap-up finally. Alright, now for the wrap-up, I'm going to show you 2 specific steps and then we'll end the video. Alright, so the entire reason I recommend Vortex is because it handles your load order for you. Load order for Fallout games, Bethesda games in general, is incredibly important. Now, there are things like the method, which, if you want to find the method and use that instead of this, like if you want to be particular and actually get into the nitty-gritty of modding, I will leave a link to a nice little run over of it in the Tale of Two Wastelands forum, which I would probably suggest browsing in general if you want to get really into modding, because everyone there typically knows what they're doing, and there's a lot of very, very helpful tutorials. But again, that's beyond the scope of this, so what you're going to do is make sure all of the mods that you have installed and want to use are enabled. Then you will go to your plugins section. Now, typically, with Vortex, I believe auto-sort is enabled out of the gate, so once you deploy, it will auto-sort your mods. But just to be sure, I would go to your plugins section, and right up here, sort now. Now, when you sort your plugins, if there is an error, like plugin dependencies unfulfilled or master files missing will pop up. Since I have a Tale 2 Wastelands installation, it's going to tell us this here because it's not really relevant to a vanilla installation, because Tale 2 Wastelands is its own... It's a more complicated deal, I'm not going to lie. So if it comes up with an issue, you can click More, and it will detail what is missing and what the problem is. So if you need, like, it depends on this, you will go to that mod page on the Nexus, which it will tell you if it's here as well. Most people probably... I don't have it because I use Tale 2 Wastelands, which has its own variation of Yup integrated. But you can use these links to take you anywhere you need to inside of the mod manager itself. Like if you download it and just don't have it enabled, you'll find out that way. But it's really that simple. Just sort now, because Vortex has loot integrated into it. Now what loot is, it's the load order optimization tool. It uses a master table and a rule set to sort your mods for you in a typically stable manner. Now, you can manually sort and get better results, but for the vast majority of modders, people who aren't using like 300 plugins, which you probably shouldn't, 255 is the cap anyway, but you get the point. This should be fine. If you're not using hundreds of plugins, just click auto sort and typically you can be done. Now, loot itself, sometimes Vortex and loot will have different master tables because they update at different rates. If you want to make sure that your mods are sorted properly with the right master table 100%, you can download loot and do a manual sort for loot. But that's, again, outside of the scope of this particular tutorial. In a more advanced tutorial that I will eventually do later, I will show you how to do that. But again, for 90% of users, and definitely starting newer modders, auto sorting here is all you need to do. Now, with the auto sorting, there is one other thing you need to do. I would go ahead and sort your load order, then I would go back to your Fallout New Vegas directory. Now, earlier, we downloaded the Fallout Edit. Now, the reason you installed is not necessarily to go in and manually error check, which you can do and you can learn how to do if you want. I would, again, suggest going to the Tale 2 Wastelands forum for that, because they're just a genuinely great resource. Which I'll leave a link. Again, there will be a link in the description. What you want to do is you want to go to Fallout New Vegas Edit Quick and Auto Clean. And what you want to do is, I would recommend, if you are not doing Tale of Two Wastelands, if you have a Tale of Two Wastelands installation, you probably don't need this particular tutorial, so you can ignore that. But for most people, you want to select one DLC master file at a time. What you do is you want to hit OK. Which for me, this will break my installation, so I'm going to restore the backup that I have of this. But you'll go here, and it will automatically clean up the files and fix them. And you will do this for any mod that you are told is dirty, typically by Vortex. And then you'll just exit out, and you're done. So to show you what I mean by that, if any mod is dirty, Vortex will actually have a flag here to tell you. Like right here, you can double click it. You can go down, loop cleaning information. ITM records, lead reference, that's not relevant for the most part for you, because the auto clean will take care of that. But anything that you typically see the spray bottle on here, in your plugin section, you will want to clean. There are some exceptions, because some mods will actually tell you in the mod description when you download them, do not clean, follow those instructions to the letter, and do not clean. Be sure you know what you're downloading, and if you need to take notes, I would suggest taking notes and double checking as you go through. But really, that is it. That is modding Fallout New Vegas with what I would consider the mandatory mods for the sake of stability. And this is by far the simplest, easy way to do it. Any resources that I think are worth having, I will go ahead and put in the description down below. With that aside, modding the game isn't as difficult as some people make it out to be. This guide exists for the sole purpose of showing you how simple it can be and for what will work for most users. I'm not a fan of modding being seen as this elitist thing. It should be accessible to everyone, and tools like Vortex make it accessible to everyone. So with all that being said, thank you all for watching. If you're enjoying your stay, like, comment, subscribe. If you learned anything here at all, just do it. Sometime YouTube might notice me the more interaction I have with you all through any of that. So maybe it'll get recommended. I don't know if that's a good thing or not for people learning to mod, but you never know. This is bReplacer signing off, and I'll see you all later.